welcome to my channel. It's been a bit since I've done a news video, and there's been a few things to come out for the PWHL and the NHL. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with a trade that the Vancouver Canucks did with the Chicago Blackhawks, and that is the Vancouver Canucks receive Lukas Reichel, who is a forward, and Chicago receives a 4th round pick in 2027. This trade for the Vancouver Canucks is pretty sneaky and a pretty good trade. They are injured in their forward core right now. Höglander is out, Hedl is out, Lekaramaki is out, so yeah, you could call up someone from the AHL, but right now they kind of need NHL guys. And so with the trade for Lukas Reichel, he's a forward. He was drafted as a center, though. And if he can be a center, and he could live up to the 17th overall selection that was used on him in 2022, or in just 2020, then this could look like a pretty good trade in the next few years. And right now, it's looking pretty good as well. For Chicago, it's a little bit more of a question mark. A lot of Chicago fans are not happy about this trade right now, and I can kind of see why, where they're like, it's a young player, why are we getting rid of young players when we're trying to get this rebuild going? Or the rebuild's already going, but yeah, it is very, very good for the Vancouver Canucks, and as I said, big question mark for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, going into a signing, the Vegas Golden Knights turned Carter Hart's PTO, a professional tryout, into a 2-year, $2 million AAV contract. And I am only going to be touching on-ice stuff. I'm not going to talk about the off-ice stuff with this signing. However, it is very interesting that Vegas is kind of embracing this villain role that they've seemed to have played for the last few years. So switching to the on-ice stuff, Carter Hart, before he left the Flyers, was on pace to having a pretty good year. He was the backbone of the Flyers. He was the starter. He had everything going for him. And now he hasn't played for a year and a half. He can start playing NHL games on December 1st, and he can start playing AHL games on the 15th of November. And so he will get those AHL games because, once again, hasn't played for a year and a half. And so this also kind of messes up with Vegas's goalie situation right now, because Hill is out week to week, and they have Akira Schmid, who seems to be doing all right, and then they have this other goalie that played his first NHL game the other night, and so it kind of makes that goalie room a little bit crowded. However, they'll figure it out, and they see something in Carter Hart that could work for their team. So, an interesting signing. However, I do believe that it is a positive signing for the on-ice stuff, not so much for the off-ice stuff. Now, getting into the PWHL thing that I mentioned off the top, the Vancouver and Seattle PWHL teams, who are the expansion teams for this upcoming season, have announced their jerseys, and I'm a huge fan of them for the fact that they are just placeholder jerseys until they get names and logos. And the Vancouver jerseys have a retro look to them that I really like. And the Seattle jerseys kind of follow that same sentiment. And I'm going to be at the Vancouver PWHL home opener. And so I'm going to be able to see these jerseys in action because Seattle is playing Vancouver in their home opener. And so I'm excited. I think everyone in Seattle and in Vancouver are ecstatic of having a PWHL team, and now we have some jerseys that look pretty dang cool. So I am in love with them, and I may have to get one. Lastly, some player updates. Patrick Laine is out 3 to 4 months with a core muscle injury, and it is not looking good for him because this is a contract year, and he is now injured for 3 or 4 months of that contract year. And I mean, Montreal's been doing pretty good without him, so it doesn't look like it's affecting the team. However, you really hope that Patrick Laine just has a good season, because over the past few years, it's kind of been a little bit iffy. Like, he was in the Players Assistance Program, he got injured last year, in preseason, and so this is a little bit of it is a setback. I'm not going to say it's a little bit. And I'm hoping for a fast recovery for him because I'm a Montreal fan and I don't like to see my players injured. So I'm just hoping that the Montreal medical staff can do what they can do and help him get back to the ice as soon as possible. And in the meantime, it looks like Montreal is doing okay without him, so it's not the end of the world that he's out. Next, Joseph Woll. He is back with the Maple Leafs after taking a leave of absence for personal reasons. We don't know what those personal reasons are. However, he is back. He is practicing with the team, and Anthony Stolarz has been pretty good for the Leafs. And, I mean, he kind of stole the starting spot last year. So, with Joseph Woll being out, it was Caden Primo who was backing up. And he did all right in the games that he did play. However, I think a lot of Maple Leafs fans are happy that their number 2 goalie is back and that goaltending is not going to be an issue in this season, because Maple Leafs have looked kind of lifeless in some of the games that they've played. And you have Anthony Stolarz calling out his team for not sticking up for him when he got rammed in that Seattle game, and Carlo was just kind of standing there. And so it is good that goaltending is not their issue. It is just the forwards. And I mean, Tanev is now out, so that's a little bit of a issue. And then Nylander is out, so the Maple Leafs are, in my opinion, going through an identity crisis, because Mitch Marner, yes, they don't want to talk about him anymore, and that's in the past. However, he was a big part of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and now he's gone. And so that leaves a 100-point hole right there, and that's not gonna bode well for any team. So we're gonna have to see what the Toronto Maple Leafs end up being this year. I'm not saying that they're gonna miss playoffs. I do believe that they're gonna get to the playoffs. However, it's only a matter of what they're gonna do in them. So hopefully, with Joseph Woll being back, things can go up. So that's going to be the video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure you comment what you thought of the video. Like it and subscribe so YouTube knows that you like my content and that I should make more of this. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.